She kept her identity hidden until a very specific moment when revealing it could save her people and lead to death. Hey everyone, welcome back to the fourth video in the Armor of God series. In the last episode, we looked at Peter, a man who walked with Jesus, dropped his armor, and got restored. Today, we're heading to the Old Testament. We're going to look at someone who never led an army, never held a weapon, yet stood firm in one of the most pivotal spiritual battles in Scripture. Who am I talking about? Esther. You see, Esther was a young Jewish woman living in exile. She was raised by her cousin Mordecai after being orphaned. She was selected to be queen in a Persian empire which didn't know or follow God. She kept her identity hidden until a very specific moment when revealing it could save her people and lead to death. You see, Esther didn't preach. She didn't even say God's name that we know of. But she did live like someone who knew him. Her story is quiet but powerful. So let's take a look at how Esther wore the armor of God. Esther stood at the palace doors, uninvited, knowing it could mean death, and yet she walked into the court. Not in panic or fear. But why is that? Before Esther came to the court, she fasted, she prayed, and then she moved with steady steps and a peaceful heart. That's what the shoes of peace look like. Walking into danger with trust, not trembling. She didn't know how the king would receive her message, but she believed God had placed her in her position and at the court for such a time as this. That faith, not in outcomes, but in God shielding her from fear. Have you ever had to trust God without seeing the end? Esther did. Esther could have stayed silent. She could have chosen comfort and ignored the problem. But she didn't forget who she was or whose she was. Mordecai reminded her, "You were made for this." And when you remember who God made you to be, fear loses its grip. Esther didn't have to deceive, scheme, or manipulate people around her. She waited for the time in which God told her to go. And when she spoke with wisdom and truth. The belt of truth held her steady when fear wanted to create a stumbling block. And in the right moment, Esther revealed everything. As we look at Esther, she didn't act out of pride or panic. She prayed. She listened. She obeyed. That's what the breastplate of righteousness looks like. Not perfection, but a heart aligned with God. Esther never directly quoted Scripture, but before she ever entered the king's presence, she entered God's presence. She fought with fasting and prayer. And that's how we should wield the sword of the Spirit. Not just through verses, but through surrender. She didn't make history. It was not dramatic, but it was deeply courageous. She didn't talk about the armor, she just wore it. And through her obedience, the entire nation was saved. What battle are you facing silently? Which piece of the armor have you dropped or forgotten you were even wearing? Is it the helmet because you're doubting your purpose? The shield because fear feels louder than faith? The sword because you're tired of praying? Maybe this week is your moment to pick it back up. If this spoke to you, comment below. This week, I'm picking up my whatever part of the armor. And remember, even if your battle is invisible, God sees you and the armor still fits. Stand strong. Stay armored, and God bless you. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.